And I'm hoping that Eric is up there now. Maybe you can text us, Eric, and just make sure that you're online with us. Okay, good. So tonight we have some exciting new tools for you. And but before we get started, I wanted to bring Grace up here. Grace, are you? Yeah. You want to come on up? Yeah. We'll take a couple of announcements before we get started.
Do I have to talk into that?
Yeah.
I do?
Right, we're recording.
Okay.
And come right up here.
Okay, these things are scary. Really quick, it's not really related to the topic here tonight, but I wanted to relay a really cool opportunity. And it's not specifically the Guild, but it is an opportunity to join a volunteering trip to Nepal to rebuild structures after the earthquake earlier this spring. And it's being run by Grand Asian Journeys. Pam Perry, one of the co-founders of that company, used to be a Guild member. Anyway, I am definitely going. The dates, I have information here. I'm just going to let this circulate. And I don't want to take up any time except that it's to let you know that it's happening. It's in the new year. The type of, we're basically building a demonstration house to teach the other villagers how to build a safe structure that's seismically sound. What's happening is right now they're rebuilding some of the structures, just piling up the stones that fell down and just stacking them back up again and sticking something on the top, which we know what happens when you do that in an earthquake zone. So anyway, this is it's a really cool trip. There's a possibility to expand the dates from what's in here or alter the dates. So don't take this as being completely set in stone because there's some options there. But the demonstration house, basically the structure is likely going to be, for lack of a better term, a Gabian band system. And so anyway, I can talk more about that individually if you're interested. So I'm just going to let this circulate.
Thanks, Grace. And one more, Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert. I'm too loud. Anybody been to the 2-day eco-building getaway, right? This is what's replacing. Ever been there? Great event that we've had yearly. It's down to 1 day now at the Seattle Hub, October 9th. And this is a great event. The keynote speaker is Bill Reed, if anybody knows who that is, because I don't know who it is. So you can enlighten me later, okay? But hey, great event. Thanks.
And then we have Doug. Doug, you have a quick announcement?
And most of our Guild members already know what I'm going to talk about. And that is the Green Building Slam is coming up on the 24th of October. And how many of us have been to a slam before? Did you find it creative, inventive, and worth attending? Well, this year, the projects are really, really mind-boggling. And if you have any interest in sustainability, environmental concerns, community, social awareness, family, there's something for everybody this year. I was fortunate enough to get to see the projects, and tonight we actually have 2 firms here whose projects were chosen to be part of this. And I'm telling you, this year is going to be amazing. So you can go online and get your tickets, and we're going to do some kind of an early bird package. So those who get their tickets before maybe first week in October, there's going to be a fun package. It's just called a box of randomness. And there'll be some really great things in there for all of you. And then there's still some opportunities to sponsor the event. All the table sponsorships have sold out already, but there's some great opportunities for additional recognition for sponsorships. And I'm going to pass the sponsorship kits around, and you can feel free to sign up and take a kit and have some fun. Karen?
And how do we get the tickets, Greg?
We actually have to ask Karen because she knows a lot more about it.
It's already been correct. We sold 22 already.
Yeah, and this event has sold out for the last 3 years and approximately 450 individuals. So I'll just pass this around to everybody. King County's already a sponsor for us.
When is it, Doug?
This is October 24th. So it's going to be here before we know it. So thank you.
Okay, we're almost ready here. Cate?
We are. We're almost ready to go. Hi, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Excellent. Can we get one more woohoo? All right. Excellent. And welcome, Eastside and Olympia. Supposedly. So if you're down there, hello, Olympia. Hello, Woodinville. Excellent. Well, welcome to the Cool Green Tools. Hands-on tools that make a difference in the field. So we've got a huge panel here tonight that are going to be demonstrating some cool tools, some that I've never seen before. I'm certainly excited about it. But I wanted to give us an opportunity, since we have, well, two things. Hold on, there's more. Thanks to one of the chapter's greatest sponsors, King County Green Tools, we have an opportunity to have a free raffle for 2 books tonight. One is Tactical Urbanism. Sorry, Olympia, and sorry, Woodinville, you guys can't play. And The Hidden Potential of Sustainable Neighborhoods. So all you have to do is fill out one of the tickets. Oh, wait, there's more. There is, really? Yeah, oh, Woodinville, there is a Tactical Urbanism and another book by Jason McLennan. Does anybody know how to pronounce that? Zoigen Roy? You'll love it. You'll love it. I know it. I can just tell. So, hey, Woodinville gets to play. Sorry, Olympia. Okay, so for those folks here in the audience tonight, the tickets are up on the registration table. So please go, if you haven't already filled out your raffle, we'll draw that at the end of the evening. I did want to do one shout out because how many of you here are a 12? Seriously? Seahawks? Go Hawks? Anybody?
We're a very cool group of people.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that just fell flat, right? Okay. Well, wrong crowd. You got that right. My name is Cate O'Dahl, and I am a 12. Okay, and so my student, Julia Esperolini, put a really great flyer together for you to have. It's back on the back table with all the dates of the games. There you go, okay? So I thought that was really cool. I'm excited to have mine because, yes, I am a 12. Okay, so because we have a smaller group tonight, we're going to do something that we used to do a long time ago before we started drawing hundreds of people to these events, and actually go around the room and ask everybody to introduce yourselves. So this happened on the fly, so I don't have a PowerPoint ready with the points that I'd like you to address. But 4 things: your name, your company, if you're looking for work or you're looking to hire somebody, let us all know. And then finally, what's your favorite green tool? And these guys can't go because they're going to get their time up here. So we're going to start with Michael.
Michael Laurie, my company is Watershed. I'm not looking for work. I have my company. My favorite green tool. Well, I do a lot with water. So I've got many favorite tools. I'll say the flow bag that you can measure the flow of water with, because it's a little bag. You hold it under flow of water and you count for 5 seconds, and it tells you how many gallons a minute that flow of water is.
Okay.
And then you can take it and
cool green tool? Grace?
Grace Wong, my company is Meeting Architecture and Design. Green Building Advisor.
Oh, there you go. All right.
My name's Julia Asparley, I'm a real estate agent. I'm with Windermere Community Inn, and I'm the former student of Cate. I'm a certified green real estate broker. And my favorite green tool, I'm big on door tests. I'm big on conserving heat and energy. I grew up in the Midwest, so cool winters, bad insulation, everything.
Excellent.
Hi, my name is Lizette Lee, and I'm a homeowner. I've lived in houses about 100 years old, and it's falling apart faster than I can pursue it. I'm not sure what, I guess my favorite green tool is having enough sleep so I don't make things worse. Hi, my name is Cate. I'm not looking for work. I don't own a company, and my favorite green tool is the library.
Aw, that's nice. That's great.
Hi, I'm David Higginbotham. I'm a carpenter, designer, and I'm looking for work. My favorite green tool, I guess, would be my sketchbook. We're made a couple. So.
Emily?
Hi, my name is Emily Goldstein. I work with Eileen. I'm an AmeriCorps at the American Lung Association, and I do the Masters of Environmentalist program. And I like the library too. I have to take that one. My name's Kim Rutherford. I work at Valley. I'm a skilled community. So I'm taking things out of houses a lot, and so I would say my favorite green tool is probably the burp bar, because on everything. Which I think no one's probably.
We might even get to see a demonstration of that tonight. Excellent.
I've had physical and methodology use as well. His favorite green tools is hands.
There you go. My name's Kevin Tillman, and I just moved to Seattle from Portland, and started working at Walls Construction. And the tool I'm using right now is just basically just 3D models for project coordination. So not necessarily green, but green projects.
I'm Chris Herman. My company is Winter Sun Design and also Centerpiece Systems. And I'm not looking for work anymore. I don't have any work to give you either. So my favorite green tool is the Soletric Sun Eye. And it's got a digital camera with a fisheye lens. You set it up where you want your solar panels to go. And it takes a picture of the southern sky and then imposes the sun path chart over it. So with one sighting, you can tell exactly what your access percentage is at that point on the, at that pitch, at that orientation. And then you can use the little paintbrush tool to scrub stuff out if you need to. I have three of them. Soletric Sun Eye.
And my name is Karen Anderson. My company is Design for Prosperity. I'm a functional consultant looking for business. And my favorite green tools are two, my iPhone Compass and my Delta Run.
Thanks, Karen.
Down and homeowners, we're deconstructing and I do cabins and trying to salvage all the fur. And probably my favorite green tool is out on
Nice. Maybe by the end of the night you will.
I'm Karen Barrett. Karen Barrett Design Interior, residential design, and commercial components. My favorite green tool is probably anything that doesn't plug in. I have a coping saw, a little box that goes on.
I'm a partner, J-Mark. I'm a homeowner, and I'm her unwilling, misbehaving contractor.
Excellent. Pretend that I can't hear you. Oh, excellent. Yeah, right? Nice.
Rob Smith, resident of Bainbridge Island, work in Seattle, interested in living in green homes, and so, but I think our favorite green tool right now is the ferry boat.
Johnny Bosch, not looking for work right now. I'm not married either, sorry. But, I came here, so I'm going to
Perfect. That's a perfect answer. We got two gentlemen came in late, sir.
Howard Langville, I do property management, Park Place Everett. I'm not looking for work, I'm not hiring. My favorite tool is smartphone.
Okay, excellent, sir.
Chris Bussey, I'm serving manager. This occupancy center.
Oh, okay, excellent. Any of you guys want to add in your introduction and a favorite green tool? Doug?
I think I know most everybody now. Doug Kennedy, not looking for work, having a lot of fun. And my favorite green tool are all the ones that we're talking about tonight. We've got some really fun tools.
Robert?
I'm Robert Haverlock. I'm always looking for something.
That's
My
great.
favorite green tool, and I had to think about that for a minute, is my contact list. I got over 1,000 names all over the United States that I can call for answers at any time. It's great.
Chris?
I'm Chris. I work for Fountain Weir, and I'm not looking for it. My favorite green tool is this.
Aw. Aw. Everybody, come on. Aw. That's great. Do you guys want to jump in?
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm Ryan Palmetier. I work for Small Planet Supply in Tumwater, Washington. My favorite green tool would have to be the Zender heat recovery ventilator.
Ooh.
Not looking for work, and I'm also doing the live stream.
Yes, so let's acknowledge our volunteers here. You want to go?
My name is Megan Brown. I'm actually Ryan's technical assistant, assisting him with all the online stuff. My favorite green tool actually would be one of Mother Nature's gifts, and would be the bees.
Oh, bees. Way to go. Okay, excellent. Great answers, you guys. That was fun. Yes? Got one more? Eric, did you follow what you're supposed to do here? Name, company, are you looking for work, for hiring, and what's your favorite green tool?
I'm working part-time, so I'm looking for work. I work with Homestead Community Land Program, and my favorite tool, recently I got introduced to the motion detector meter, so that was fun.
Gentleman who just walked in, do you want to be put on the spot?
Yeah, Todd Staley. I work for Palladino Company. We do commercial sustainability.
Hiring?
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly. Okay, good. And your favorite green tool?
Excel.
Awesome. All right, well, that was fun. Pat's got one more announcement, then we're going to get into our speakers. So, Pat, come on up.
Okay, and I wanted to appreciate my favorite green tool, and it's Ryan. So Ryan is helping us get the word out. Also want to reach out to Eric over there on the east side, Eric. And Steve Abercrombie, if you're online, appreciate what you're doing down there in Olympia. A couple more announcements. Since we are live, if you have a question, just blast it out. So the chapters out in the east side and Olympia can hear you. Also, take a look at the promotions that are on these tables. And thank you, 21 Acres, for supplying the food tonight. It's all organic. It was just picked this afternoon. So try it out and, get used to the real taste of, or the taste of real food. Okay, so.
I'm ready.
Cate,
okay.
go on.
Well, I'd like to introduce our first presenter tonight from King County Green Tools. Will you please all help me welcome Kinley Deller?
Thank you. So, Ryan, I had one question or a couple.
Yes.
One, I wanted to make sure if I'm just standing here, is my voice getting projected out to Woodinville?
Yeah.
Okay. And did we figure out, do they know how to call in with questions and stuff?
Yeah.
We've got that figured out too, so you guys will just holler at us if something comes in?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, well, my name is Kinley Deller. I work for King County Green Tools, which is part of the Department of Natural Resources and Parks. And I'm not looking for work. I wish we were hiring. There are 3 people on the Green Tools team, and we are going through the process of figuring out what our work plan is going to be from now until this time next year. And we're about 1.5 people short. So we wish we were hiring, but unfortunately we're not right now. So we're not quite sure how we're going to deal with that. And my favorite tool, I guess, would be my goats. I've got 3 Nigerian dwarf goats, and they do a great job of clearing the land when given the opportunity, and I get the chance to actually move their fence. Sometimes they help clear the blueberries, which is a downside. So tonight I'm going to be talking about some of the tools that we work with at Green Tools. They're kind of targeted to a wide variety of audiences. I'm going to try to talk specifically about the homeowner targeted ones, but there's a few others in here too. So our motto is Green Tools because every project requires the right tool. And we really kind of see ourselves as consultants in a way that are paid by the county ratepayers. And we have 4 main, got to figure out the right direction to point this in. So we have 4 main sectors kind of that we work in. And we provide assistance and outreach and education to each of these. So we have a strong program working with cities in King County, helping them look at green policies, green codes, and we have some regular programs I'll talk about in a couple minutes that get information out to the people that are kind of the key people in those communities. For builders and homeowners, we have a number of tools that we've developed over the years. I get a lot of calls from builders asking specifically about construction demolition materials, which is actually our 4th category on there. That's kind of my specialty. But we field calls all the time, and we don't always know the answers, but we try to get people pointed in the right direction at least. And then King County Green Building is a huge part of our program. That's basically providing assistance to King County owned projects. I think we had somewhere around 200 different projects going on last year. Some of them were major new building constructions, and some of them were like bus shelters and things like that. And all the projects now, no matter what they are, either have to go through the LEED certification project, and they're required now to be aiming for LEED Platinum, or they have to be going through a scorecard system, which is kind of our own equivalent sort of LEED, but we tweaked it some so that it works for non-capital projects. So it works for a bus shelter. You know, there's some things that are still not applicable, but it's good guidance. And then construction demolition, that's what I do. So our coolest tool, I think, at least recently, is the EcoCool Remodel tool. We did a lot of usability testing with it. It's actually in its 3rd generation now. It's been industry reviewed. We worked with the King County Department of Planning and Environmental Review. We actually did colorblind simulation testing on it to make sure that it worked for colorblind audiences also. We did some testing with different cultural crowds. I guess that's not the right word, but we did cultural testing with it too. So 2 of the main features with it now are there's a checklist for contractors, and there's also a green product buying guide that's associated with it. And is it possible to click on that link? Will that take us into the World Wide Web? This is one of those things you're supposed to check out before your presentation. There we go. So if you want to, let's see, scroll down a little bit. Yeah, or just click on one of those things on the right. Oh, there we go. So you can go to the whole house, or you can go to a specific room and maybe click on the little eye there by the, yeah, that one's good. So driveway tips. So it gives you more information there, and then if you want even more information, you can click on the button down in the little right-hand corner, and it gets into a lot of the additional aspects of it. And that you can go through the whole house and just explore room by room. If you go into like the kitchen, you can look at the different ideas for how to do your countertop, how to do your backsplashes. I can't remember which room like the flooring material is. It looks like there's one there in the kitchen. And I think if you scroll down there, is there another more information there? Yeah, click on that one. So that kind of, you end up doing a lot of clicking, but there's a lot of resources on there. And I've talked to a lot of architects and designers, and they find that it's really useful to just have their clients go to the site and play with it and explore and come up with some materials maybe that they're interested in, and it's a good way to have some discussions going. So anybody that's interested, there's cards on the table back there. We have lots of them. Take as many as you want and pass them out to your clients or whatever else. We have another box or 2 of them back at the office. So. Where am I supposed to point to? Up down there? All right, we'll try that next time. Okay, so the infrastructure scorecard. This is our LEED equivalent system that we set up for non-LEED eligible projects. We kind of based it on LEED. We've adapted it, as I said, to apply to infrastructure projects. Has 9 different sustainability categories, and King County projects, the project managers are required to complete this at 30% design and then at project completion. Yes, it worked. So the RLLCA, the Resource Lifecycle Cost Analysis. This is another tool that King County's developed. The LCCA is often used in a much broader sense, and the RLCCA, as we're calling it, is focuses a lot more on the energy aspect of it, and also I think on the water resources. It's a little bit hard to see, but basically you've got 2 main screens that you work with. One is your baseline, and then one is your alternative. And of course you can run, ooh, cool. You can run various scenarios through it and then compare them all in the end. And then when you get to your output screen, it compares it all and gives you your simple payback in years, which some people are still, liking to see. And you can look at the different, it kind of cuts it out in different ways of what your savings are. This is one of the tools that I helped develop years ago. It's called Design for Disassembly. I just wanted to make a plug for it. It's a rather long book, and you hand it to architects and designers, which it's primarily designed for. And they, their eyes glaze over sometimes. So I've actually developed a 14 points, basically, of Design for Disassembly. And that's on our website. So if you go to the King County Green Tools website, you can find that on there. And it just basically talks about the big things that you want to think about when you're designing a project so that it's adaptable, so that it will last as long as possible, so it'll last longer than the person designing it, hopefully. And so that when it is time for it to be, for that structure to come down, that it can be taken apart in such a way that most of the materials can be easily reused. The Sustainable Cities Initiative, so this is the program that we work with the cities. We have a number of online tools that are specific to the cities. Again, a lot of them are related to codes, code development. We have monthly roundtable series. Every other month it talks about specifically on climate change issues, and then on the alternating month it's on green building aspects. Some of it's on community design, sometimes it's on construction demolition. There's a wide range of topics that get covered, a lot on water management issues. We have a lot of technical assistance that we provide to the people in the cities to try to help them get their programs set up. We do trainings for them. We have a green building task force within King County, and then with the cities, there's a separate green building task force. We do a lot of peer-to-peer review. A city has some idea of some project that they want to work on. We're able to send somebody out to do a charrette with them, or help guide the charrette, or look at what they've proposed and see maybe who else at the county, what other departments should be involved. We're a big county, and it was pointed out earlier to me tonight that there's a lot of things going on in different parts of the county that don't make sense. They don't mesh together very well, and our job at Green Tools really is to try to get all those different pieces playing nice together. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but we're trying. So the Regional Code Collaboration is a group actually that expands out past the cities into other counties, and actually down, there's some people in Vancouver that have taken part, and down in Portland actually. And basically that's just people from cities and counties that have a need for a green building code coming together and saying, we really need to work on this, but we don't have the staffing. Has anybody else worked on this? And somebody else will say, yeah, my city's developed a code. And then a group of people get together and kind of refine it and make it generic for all the different cities, and then it'll get promulgated out. So one city will come up with an idea or come up with a code, and it's a way for us to really spread that work around. And right now, C&D, construction demolition materials, recycling is one of the codes that we're working on, as well as a whole bunch of others. But climate collaboration, I already talked about that. Last slide, Sustainable Cities Roundtable. This is just a little bit more about the meetings that we have every other month. And a lot of times we bring in speakers. We have a relationship with Island Press, and there we're actually getting funding from the Bullitt Foundation to bring in some pretty awesome speakers. And sometimes we're able to share those speakers, like with the Built Green conference that was a couple weeks ago. We were able to kind of snag that speaker through our Island Press relationship. So that's it. I feel like I should have found some better residential tools to dwell on, but I'm happy to field questions later. So I'm good for now. Thanks.
Next, I'd like for you all to help me welcome Noel Stout from Dedicated Deconstruction. Noel?
Hello. Yeah, exactly. Bring down the house. I like it. Yeah. So this is the tool that Kim was talking about. This is a Burke bar. Actually, this is a Burke bar Junior. A Burke bar is even bigger than this and is unwieldy. Let's see. Yeah, Noel Stout said that. Not hiring, although potentially could be hiring soon. Always looking for work because I own a small business. So the name of my business is Dedicated Deconstruction. I actually got my start doing what Kim does back when Ballard Reuse was Seattle Restore. I have a hard time with that. In any event, the service that we provide, basically when I worked at the Restore, you could see the discrepancy pretty quickly between the services that could be provided as a contractor versus as a retail operation. I mean, these guys are doing the absolute most they could possibly do within the model that they're doing, but that limits them. They can't take the entire house down, And the demolition industry is the people who are out there who are supposed to be doing that, and they're doing that, but they're not doing much with it. It's going off the landfill, more or less. So the service I provide is to kind of bridge those two services. That we have a really awesome salvage industry in this area. We have a great recycling industry in this area, and we have a lot of incredible people who are resourceful, which, by the way, is my favorite green tool. So with the limitations of demolition, just basically wanting to get in and out of there as fast as possible and crunch and go, and having to, spend your labor on, the salvage industry has to consider how much labor they're putting in for the material value that they're getting. We do the best of both worlds. What we try to do is capture all of the material that's economically viable. So when I go and look at a house, I'm not just immediately looking at it and saying, okay, we're going to hand deconstruct this whole house, save every stick of lumber, every little plate on the light switches and so on. That's just not economically viable. But each house has a certain amount of salvage value in it, and it has a certain amount of recycled material that can be kept out of the landfill, and at the minimum, provide local jobs and save the homeowner disposal. So that's my specialty. That's what I do. I'm just a contractor like anybody else, but I work close with the local salvage industry, and we take all that material, donate it to them on behalf of the homeowner, and then the homeowner gets a tax receipt and it offsets the labor. And that's the gist of it. So some of the tools, this actually, if you only had one tool to take an entire house down, this is what you'd have. This and a good donkey kick, and you could pretty much take a whole house down. This is actually designed for concrete forms, prying off forms for concrete. But the reason we like it so much is, one, it's huge, so you get a massive amount of leverage, because you can imagine, there's a certain amount of effort put into driving one nail, but we're not fighting one nail. We're fighting 15 nails in one board and so on. And it's really wide on the end, so it spreads out that power that you have without splitting the wood, if you can use it correctly. This is the best tool for salvaging tongue and groove flooring also, which I think let's see where you are. There you are. We'll talk later. But this is infinitely faster than being on your hands and knees with a flat bar. And just for the record, I'm not sponsored by Burke Bar in any way. In fact, I intend to redesign this. I have a friend with a welder, and we're going to take spring steel and put 2 blades, one on either side, because this bar actually indents the wood quite a bit and becomes a nuisance. And I want to broaden this quite a bit and actually put a little angle on the end there, because when you come down, you end up punching your knuckles and destroying your hands. And I think Todd had mentioned using Excel as his favorite green tool. That's actually my least favorite tool. I used to never do that, and deconstruction is brutal, but computers, sitting in front of a computer all day, way more brutal. So yeah, we use this for everything. Literally, it's the catch-all tool. But like I said, if you put a little angle on the end there and you had a straight 90-degree pull and then also a hand guard, then you'd really get away with having nothing in your hand but this. So that's my first favorite one. Thank you. And let's stick this down here. So this is very simple. Some people call this a fan tail. It's just a cat's paw on one end and a tapered, nice, shape on the end there. And this is really good for a lot of trim and getting at nails, getting into the corners of cabinets and getting things started. With essentially we're prying houses apart. We're not ripping them apart, and it's all about getting in behind things slowly until you can open it all up. And you're just adjusting your speed from really fast when you're just dealing with material that's recycling, because you just want to blow through it as fast as possible, and then slowing down and get really delicate, and all of a sudden your tools get really small, and we have even smaller bars than this. Another small tool that we use for real delicate stuff is a like a heavy scraper, like a 1/8 inch thick scraper, because it has a nice bend to it and you can get it behind trim and do a lot with that. This specific tool is called a doju. It's a Japanese style. I highly recommend it. There's other versions of this. Stanley makes some. They're clunky and terrible compared to that. This one gets people really excited because they're like, what the heck is that? Because it's kind of an old school tool back when we were more resourceful, and back when I've had people come up to me and tell me how they love what we're doing because they remember their grandfather making them hammer nails straight back in the day and all this stuff. And it sounds terrible actually, but this is a denailer, or a nail banger. And so what it is it's a slide hammer, and then it's got tapered teeth on the end there and a little elbow, so I won't do it on this, but basically you get it over the nail, hammer it in, pay no attention to that. And if you line up the teeth with the grain, so if this was the grain and you line it up like that, it barely leaves a mark. And you hammer it in around the nail and it actually tightens itself, and then as you bend it on its axis there, on its thumb, it keeps a tight pinch on that nail and you actually pull the nails out. And when you get really good on it, like what we commonly use this for is heavy plywood sheathing. It's really hard to get that started without destroying it. You can imagine the Burke bar's got a good wide face on it, but even that starts blowing through plywood. And once you start ripping through it, it's a nightmare to get off. So if you start a few corners with this, get it going, and then spread out that weight, you can get the whole sheet off. And then the other thing is something called car decking, which some of you might be familiar with. It's like a 3x5 tongue and groove, essentially like giant flooring, which is awesome material. And this is really great for that. So, you get in there and, it's really beautiful when you get a crew that's really good at it, because it's just 2 hits, pull, 2 hits, pull, and you can really shred through some stuff. Speaking of nails, the bane of my existence. This is why I love Kinley and his plan for design for disassembly, because that would be my dream. Come into a house that was actually built the way we used to build houses from Legos. Hey, remember that? We didn't throw the Legos away. This is looks like a nail gun, but it's a denailer. This one specifically, the brand is Reconnects. Also, not sponsoring them. I'd like to redesign this also. If it had a bugle end, it would be great, because you're just trying to jam it on the ends of nails sticking up like that. But essentially, you slide this, so imagine you have a board tipped up and the pointy end of the nail is sticking up like this. You slide this over the nail, pull the trigger, it compresses a piston like this. It comes out and it pushes the nail out the back of the wood, if you're lucky. Most of the time, it pushes it out like with 1/5 of the nail still sticking out. So then there's a whole nother stage where you got to take nips and pull it out. If anyone was planning to do a bunch of flooring or siding, actually siding you can even get away without this, but definitely flooring, particularly maple or oak, this is a tool that you'd want. This is a very expensive tool. I'll rent it to you. How about that? And it comes with, does anyone know if there's another model like this? I thought, Cate, you had mentioned, or somebody had just recently mentioned that there's a competing model to this, and I was wondering if anyone knows.
What is that called?
It's the Nail Kicker by Reconnects. Anyway, it's pretty cool. It's got 2 different size pistons. That one's broken. That's part of why I want to redesign it. They have it, I guess, heavier ones for framing nails and then lighter ones, but really there's no sense in having the lighter piston. The larger piston is all you want, and it'll do what you need. If you're gonna blow nails out of something that's got really delicate nails, just don't take it all the way down to the wood. Have it hover just 1/5 of the way down, and it'll knock it right out. Very loud, but very effective. There's no way economically to make deconstruction or salvage marketable without a tool like this when it comes to flooring and large-scale denailing projects. But otherwise, the rest of it is really technique. You can imagine, again, 90% of the job is leverage and understanding what to pry against and what not to pry against, and how hard and how fast and when. And then the rest is planning your material, because you're moving 80 tons of material. You got to figure out how you want to do it and where. But anyway, that's that.
Well, that was fun. I'm holding off to the end till I declare what my favorite green tool is. So, got a couple more presenters, so we have some more options to look into. I'd like to have you all help me welcome Eileen Gagney from the Washington American Lung Association, and she came with her very own sidekick today, right? Bob Angeline from the Washington Department of Commerce. So will you guys give them a big warm welcome, please?
So I've got, sorry, I'll get in front of here. So here we go. Where do you want me? Right here? Yes. Okay. So we have, I have lots of tools that I use. So I am the director of the Master Home Environmentalist Program, and we do over 200 healthy home assessments a year. So my favorite green tool is a moisture meter. This is it. Moisture is our biggest issue, right? So this particular one, this is a pad-style moisture meter. So what I do is I actually can track where the windows leak and see where the walls are wet using this tool. Piece of cake. This is my baby. Now I do have, so there's that one. There's also a pin-style moisture meter. This runs about 40 bucks. Yes?
Can you tell us what brands they are?
This is a Sonin. This runs about 40 bucks. The Tramax, I think this runs about $90. Still worth it. It's worth the only thing is with the Tramax, it only calibrates for wood, timber, drywall roofing, and plaster and brick, not concrete. Okay, so those are the only things it'll calibrate to. But it is superb. So what I do is I do a lot of landlord-tenant work, and I'll actually take pictures of how wet the wall is when this meter goes off, and then write letters of support for the tenants, including the pictures. Visuals work great, okay? Then there's an IR gun, this little puppy. This I got at Costco with a moisture meter for $40. Easy. What this does, never pointed at anybody, correct, right? Or planes. If something is wet, it registers colder on this here. Okay, so I can see what's wet on a ceiling where I can't reach. Great little tool, right? This is a temperature hunter by Mannix. All right, the closer you are to the surface, obviously better. You'll get a more accurate reading, right? But if you can't get up to a ceiling or up to a roof, this is a great little alternative. The next tool, yes?
What would be the advantage of that over just a big infrared?
Nothing. I don't have the money for a big infrared. they're $40. That's pretty good. Yeah.
So Eileen, in order to determine that up on the ceiling that it's wet, are you comparing
to other
part?
Yes, to other parts of the ceiling to what I think. If I'm seeing a stain and it looks wet, I will measure right next to it and then work myself over. And if it registers colder, it's wet.
And to you, colder is a couple of degrees, or
Anything that's colder. You know, I don't know what that calibration is, but the fact that it's colder indicates it's wet, right? I mean, this is not high science here. Okay. Okay. This tool, however, we're working our way up the expense spectrum here. This is an IAQ meter. This is a $700 tool. This one measures temperature, humidity, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, wet bulb, and dew point. This one you calibrate outside, so you get a baseline. You bring it inside, and it is very, very delicate. So once this calibrates, we're almost down to 9 here. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will blow in this, and you can watch the numbers, the CO2 numbers just go off the chart. It's really great for if people are complaining about being a little tired in their homes, and I walk in and it's really stuffy. I'm like, how often do you open the windows? You know. So right now our CO2 levels are 797, 804. Oh, it's still rising. Got a lot of hot air in here. What's that? Well, in a room, like a classroom, it should be around 1,200, parts per million. So we're at 847, 853, watch this. So right now, and you can watch the numbers go up. It's at 9,000, there we go. Is it going up? What's it going? 1172, 1204. So it's very, very sensitive. But it'll come down, okay? So there's that tool.
What brand is that?
This one is a TPI. TPI, okay? Now, these two, and I will demonstrate these two later if you all want me to. These are actually on loan from the EPA. This is a $5,000 tool, and this is a $7,000 tool. This one measures VOCs. Oh, let me see, hang on. Let me go get the sheet because it measures more than that. Hang on. Yeah, you pass that sheet up too.
This one?
Both of them. So the EPA bought these particular tools for the tribal communities because they have a lot of issues, imagine that. So this one measures hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, ammonia. They use this a lot around near feeding lots because there are a lot of big smells, as you can imagine, with feeding lots. Carbon monoxide, oh, this doesn't work in this one, in parts per million, and VOCs. So I will demonstrate this later. I brought Windex and Sharpies. So I'm chemically sensitive. Those things make me sick. Okay, so that does this one. And then this one is a particle meter. So this one actually does parts per million, 2.5 ppm or 10 ppm. And there's another picture there. If you could hold that picture up. Actually, let me bring that forward. This is a really great picture. Thank you. So what this does is this talks about particles. All right, so on this one, I hope you guys can see me, thank you. There is a hair, okay? That's a hair inside that. PM10 is one just part of that. PM2.5 is one part of that. That's how small the particles we're talking about. All right, so for dust containment, what you're mainly concerned about, what I'm concerned about for my lungs are the 2.5. Because those 2.5 particles actually bypass all your natural defense systems, your nasal hairs, your cilia in your lungs. They go straight past them, go way down deep in your lungs, and cross directly into the bloodstream. Those are the dangerous ones. Those are the ones that you see, the ones that are floating around that you see in the sunlight. Those are the PM 2.5s. Those are the most dangerous. Okay, but the ones I will demonstrate this one with are like and I will demonstrate later with tearing a piece of paper, and those are PM10s, and it's amazing to see how much they rise. So it would be interesting, and if we had a really, there's a perfect walk-off mat. Let's try that one. We'll stomp on that and see what we come out with particles.
Does it measure nanoparticles?
No, not that sensitive. And then my buddy here, this is Bob Angeline from the Department of Commerce. He has come with his XRF gun. Anybody know what those do? What that does? Measures lead content of paint or samples. So, Bob, come over here.
This isn't my favorite green tool. My favorite green tool is my cat. She keeps my feet warm for free. And she wakes me up about 4:15, just in time to get up and go to work. So, but I've used this quite a bit. Primarily, these are used for inspection for when there's a child with elevated blood lead level. We've done a couple of these, and they're kind of sad. We're out of Walla Walla quite a ways, out there in the wheat field about 20 miles out of the nearest town. I guess I won't say because just to keep that private. But we visited with the State Department of Health. Called us and knew that we're lead risk assessors, which is part of the skill set, is doing these elevated blood lead levels, investigations, and find out what caused the exposure to a child. And so we got there, and it was pretty evident right as we walked in. Part of the house on the side had been sanded clean of paint. It was an old 1908 house, old farmhouse, that she had 2 little kids while she was working doing this, and she was trying to make her house nice for her husband who was in Afghanistan coming home, and she wanted to say, look at the house, I painted it. But in the meantime, she had a sick child after having done this work, and when we went to the pediatrician, they did a blood test and discovered that the child had a elevated blood level, which is, going to provide everlasting harm to that child. Slow development, lots of issues in brain development. So that's why it's regulated, and that's why I do enforcement of the renovation, repair, and painting rule. Are there any renovators in here certified? Great.
Anybody not know about the RRP ruling from the EPA?
That's part of why I'm here, too, is to share with you. I heard several mention property management, and I would like to share with you later how you can be engaged in the rule and what's required to keep yourself kind of clear of a violation. We just run into it time and time again where choices that a property manager made actually, caused the work to be done in an unsafe manner. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. Please come by and we'll talk about it. But this instrument, I'm going to have to calibrate it. So this here is the standard, and it's we're going to test it near what is the definition of lead-based paint is 1 milligram per square centimeter, and so this orange rectangle is close to that. So we want to be certain that this instrument can calibrate to that. So we would normally take 3 shots on this orange before we start. I've got a paint chip I brought in. This one here in particular, I know what that one is. It's porch paint, this green paint here. I don't know if you can see that. I guess you're near, you can see it. And on the other side there was some gray paint, so it was painted over with the green over this gray on a cement porch. I thought the house didn't look that old, and I thought,